keep on looking at the next step. Stop focusing on the whole vision. Just keep on looking at the next step. And once I had that reaffirmation, it just came to me to stop even looking at where is this thing going and start doing. Welcome back to the Balance It podcast. In this podcast, we have all conversations about wellness, personal development, purpose, and lifestyle.
In today's episode, we're going to discuss about fear. It is general, and I know that fear is something that is inevitable, and we keep dealing with it in every day of our lives, right? Yeah, so today we're going to go in-depthly about fear and how to manage it and whether we have positive effects of fear, because I believe they are. Yes, I am your host, Gertrude Nasike.
And I am Edda Onyoni. Yes, so we are diving into fear.
Yes.
I'm sure we have all faced it.
Yes.
At some point in life, definitely you have experienced fear. Mm-hmm. Even as you have evolved to be an adult, definitely in your life transitions, you have faced fear. Mm-hmm. Do you have any scenario that you can remember that you could just tell us and maybe let us know how you managed through it?
I would say there are many scenarios and the different kinds of fear that I would say are faced. Just starting with a basic one. When you're a kid, sometimes you get nightmares, and then you're afraid of the dark. Like that was fear for me, and what I used to do, especially if it's the dark, and maybe even if it's a short section that I need to walk through. Why are you laughing? It's just like you know what you need to know.
I can relate.
I would run. I would really run to the other side. So I would say that's the one type of fear that I've faced while maybe a kid. But another scenario, I would say fear of maybe starting out a business. And we've talked a number of times in this podcast about such kind of fear and how we overcame it. But this was different, and I think it was basically being drawn from the external factors. And I was so afraid of what people will think, or will anyone buy something that I'm going to sell, And I think with time, when I just started and tried and started getting inquiries just from a starting point of view, I realized that it's actually possible, and I got to overcome this fear by actually just starting, and the positive feedback or the inquiries from people, even though they don't buy it immediately, was encouragement enough to help me overcome it. Yes.
Yeah. So myself as a young kid, I can relate so much with that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I can relate so much is like the smallest of things, like breaking a plate. It was such a huge deal, and even by the time you get to tell your mom that now I broke a plate, because definitely when she comes, she will know. Now telling your parents that I broke a plate, or one time that it happened to me, I broke a flask, and it was like the best. It was the biggest. I was super fearful. I couldn't wait for my mom to come. Now when she came, I started crying. I couldn't even do anything else because whatever I say, it's not going to come out any nicely. So I just started crying, and she was like, "Why are you crying?" You see, just the mother nature. Yeah. She didn't even talk much. She just said like, "Let just that flow," and she didn't ask me much, but she just told me to be careful the next time. To love you, mom. Yeah, but now growing up, I fear that I've recently faced was now moving to a different country. The fear of how is this new place going to be? How am I going to even relate with different people from different countries? Like I had that fear, but that fear was, I think it's just like a normal fear because you get to overcome it now once you start experiencing life and living through that fear and actually realizing that it's never that serious. They're just people like you that you can just create friends. Yeah.
Oh, that's really impressive, and I think it just brings an aspect of like some side, like some effects of fear. I believe we have like the positive or negative effects of fear, because you can see, like, for you, when you travel to a new country, you are quite afraid of how it's going to be, but you traveled and moved regardless. How would you maybe take this concept of maybe fear having a positive effect or a negative effect? What would be your suggestion?
And I can just talk about that when I was starting out the influencer platform. Again, the influencer is a platform where we help you connect to different experts who can guide you through physical fitness, financial fitness, spiritual fitness, social well-being, and also your mental health. So we help you we help you connect you with different experts, and also we help you grow and nurture in your purpose. And the whole point is to help you monetize your purpose and actually make money in your purpose. So when I was starting out that platform, I had this fear of, first of all, I know this is where my purpose lies, and I felt like it was so big because I didn't know the nitty-gritties of how I can actually handle it on a day-to-day basis. And because I was starting out alone and I had to come up with all the ideas and how I would want it to work, there was this fear of, am I really the best person for this, for me to do this? Do I even have the capacity to run this whole platform and actually help people? Am I even in a position to actually help people? Those fears were there in the beginning, but because the idea was not from me, the idea was from God, and I kept on hearing this voice that just keep going and just keep on looking at the next step. Stop focusing on the whole vision. Just keep on looking at the next step. And once I had that reaffirmation, it just came to me to stop even looking at where is this thing going start creating a website, reaching out to different experts. Like those were things that I do one thing, I create a website, and then the other time I get an idea that now you can now introduce these experts on board who can be working with you. And I have done that, like now not having that fear of where is this thing going, but going with the reassurance that once I finish this stage, I'm sure, I am definitely 100% sure that the next stage I will know the next step to take. So I strongly believe, yes, there is that fear that you have, but it is now you to decide whether to use it to your positive advantage or to your negative advantage. Because now in that specific situation, if I would have just had this fear in me that I don't know where this is going, I would have just slept and decided to continue working, doing whatever that I am doing on a daily basis without being productive, or now without going with the purpose, now with my purpose in life. And it was a really big struggle, and I'm sure so many people are struggling with it. And I can just tell people, just take the next step that is ahead of you. You don't have to focus on the major goal that you have, but just taking the next step. And I know that there is fear that also comes with anxiety, all these butterflies, but those ones, they are supposed to push you, to motivate you to continue researching more and being more into the whichever element that you have that fear. These days I just take fear as a push, as a motivation for me to move to that same thing that I am fearful about,
Yeah.
then that is the next step that I am going to take.
And I really love how you've put it in a way that, like, maybe it's not the fear itself or the effect of fear itself that is positive or negative, but how you actually change or tailor your mindset within this fear or within this storm to actually just convert this maybe even a negative situation or a very fearful situation to your advantage instead of looking at the negative maybe impact behind it. I really like the way you've put it that way. For me, I would say I have experienced a positive effect of fear when I changed careers, and I think I've mentioned it a bit. And this was a situation where it would push me, like you see, the way you're saying fuel for greatness, you find that it is a situation that was pushing me out of my comfort zone. You know you have potential, you know you can do far beyond a certain thing, but you don't want to go there, but it's like there's a way God works. It's like He just keeps pushing you. He actually just puts you in situations that you have no option but to actually jump into that fire by force, by fire, And I really liked the way this changed me because it built me as a person. Because let's say I would be required to talk to people, not one, not two, but many people, to approach people, to have a different kind of mentality when it comes to maybe finances or maybe this wealthy generation or people who actually have wealth or have investments, developers, and just understanding that I'm actually in a position to talk to these people, and then you realize, wait a minute, these people are actually human first.
Yes.
You might see Eda is like, you can't reach them, but once you communicate to them, you just get the first impression that they're actually human. They talk to you in a good way, and just have normal conversations. And this did something different to me. I had the fear to really start and to push myself to talk to people and approach people, especially in sales and marketing. But when I just decided to do it either way, I ended up being built in a very positive way, both personally and also professionally. And I would say that is a very big plus to it. And you've also just mentioned the type of fears about maybe having the butterflies. I feel like it normally shows you whatever you're doing really matters, or maybe the stakes are too high, or just as I've said, it really matters.
Yeah.
The consequences of not doing it are very big. So if you have that fear, if you have the butterflies that you're facing before you start something, that anxiety, but it's probably within your purpose, or it's within whatever you're being called to do. Just do it regardless. And as Eda has said, just look for the next step, because you'd realize just at that line where there's fear, on the other side is where there's the unique opportunity that you can only tap into, or there's that unique opportunity that many people are not now getting into, and then you find that you now have a competitive edge on the other side of this line of fear. So just push yourself, and when you feel like you want to give up or you want to give into that fear, that's when you need to push the most. That's when you need to just go in regardless of the situation.
Yes, I agree with you. And I can say the other side of fear is you either deciding to take that leap of faith, or you deciding to be comfortable in your comfort zone. So there are only two options there. So you decide which path you want to. And it's important that even if we are experiencing that fear, it's important to understand that it is a normal experience.
Yes.
It is so normal, and everyone has experienced it. So many people are also experiencing, and whatever that you're experiencing, you will still wade through the waters. However muddy they might be, you will still wade through the waters. So decide which route to take.
Yeah.
And it is better if you take that leap of faith. If you think you have done, if you have all the capacity to actually take that leap of faith, even if you don't have that capacity, it's important to just take that leap of faith and know what is on the other side of you pushing through your fear and pushing through the mud and getting to the other side, instead of living with regrets, thinking that what if I could have actually, what if, instead of having those what ifs, what if you just jump? You will not drown. You will not drown.
Will you not drown?
You will not drown. You will just, it's actually about your mental state. You need to be very keen about how you handle your mental state at that time. And before you take that next step, it is now understanding that I am taking this step and knowing all the consequences. They might be positive and negative, but now if it is on the positive, well and good. But if it is on the negative, so how do I come back to my previous state? But I already know what is on the other side. That is when now you decide, now maybe this was not my path, then let me try this other path. And now from there you will have come out with lessons that you might use now to the right path. But otherwise, if you don't jump, then you won't even know if, first of all, if that was your path or not. So take that leap of faith.
That's very well put. And for this positive and negative aspects of fear, I don't know, what are some of the scenarios that you would probably give of instances showcasing negative fear, like negative effects of fear? Because we've just talked about fear pushing us through to achieve our goals, but fear can also, fear can work in two different ways among people. It can also make them literally never achieve their goals, or it can make them just take a different path. What scenarios would you probably give?
I strongly believe that fear comes from our intuitions, and our intuition mostly is based on what we have fed our minds, and it is strongly connected also to our subconscious mind. So whatever you continuously feed your mind will, and you're not using it at the current state, will just go to your subconscious mind until you now bring it to your conscious mind. So your intuition, based on your experiences, will be able to guide you to whether that fear that you are feeling needs for you to take that leap of faith, or that fear that you are feeling needs you to take a step back. Now, the negative aspect comes in, whereby you feel that fear and your intuition strongly tells you that that thing that you are thinking about taking, maybe the next step that you're thinking about to take, is not the right way. But you as an individual, you decide to take it. So you see, it was your intuition talking to you, but you as an individual, you have decided to take that path. So I feel like fear on the negative side can also be positive in some way. I just don't want to bring in the positivity of it, but trying to tap into it to know whether it is leading you to the wrong side or to the positive side.
For me, I would say, in regards to negative fear, or the way you react to fear, or rather the effects of fear in a negative way, would really cripple you as a person, can cripple you, and I think it can also just even destroy your even self-esteem, the way you relate to others, how you view yourself. your authenticity in general, because you would be in this position and you're seeing everyone is doing something. It's the same thing, like maybe you're in class and the lecturer asks about a certain thing or a topic. Deep within, probably you actually know the answer, but you're afraid to actually just raise your hand and say the answer. And then someone says the exact answer, and the lecturer is like, "Yes, that's what I was looking for." And you're like, "That was my answer." The other person, same thing, and then you realize at the end of the 2 years, you've literally been having those answers, or you've literally been having the correct things to say, maybe even in class, but you've never said. But there are those people who have said, for those classes that maybe it's assessment based on your participation, they've gotten those points, and for you, you're just still there. It is the same thing in life. When you're fearful at times, you would find that people will be doing things that you actually wanted to do. Someone was telling me, like, you'd find sometimes it's not like the people who are even smarter than you. It's just the more bold and confident than you. So you find that someone is just consistent, someone is just going for what they want. Even if people say, will you even manage? Or then they're just like, okay, I will just go. If it fails, at least I tried. If I don't do it, I wouldn't know how it is, whether it would fail or not, But for you, you'll just be seeing, maybe you've always wanted to start a podcast, and then you're saying, Eda and Gertrude started a podcast 1 year later. After 2-3 years, you're seeing, I don't know, your other friend has started which business that you've always wanted to start. Another person has started, like, these are things you wanted to start. These are things within your goals. These are things within your maybe purpose or calling. But when you're just fearful, you won't be in a position to feel confident enough or have the self-esteem and confidence to even pursue those dreams. So it literally kind of cripples your goals and cripples the way you view things or your perspectives of activities in life.
Yes. Yeah, I agree, and I feel like some of this fear has come from maybe our childhood. Maybe there are some traumatic events that you went through, and to you it has not come to your realization that it is you are actually fearful because of these traumatic events that happened. And I feel like there is an influence of culture when it comes to now fear or how we show up in the world, or whatever steps that we take, or whatever path that we take. I don't know what your perspective is on how the culture or the society can actually influence how we handle fear.
I would say it's very true. Culture and society really has a big influence on how we handle fear, because literally where we've grown up, the environment that we've grown up, the societies that we've been brought up in, they already have their social norms, they already have the way of life and maybe just those standards in life. And if you're growing up in a particular society and this is what you're being exposed to as the standard for it, when you now leave that society or leave that environment and go to somewhere else whereby they have a different standard, or where they do not know that standard according to maybe your society, then it's going to probably give you fear when it comes to that other situation or those other people you're relating with in that different society or culture. So I believe that would really affects the way you interact with others, because probably you're going to be very fearful or you're going to be very cautious in how you interact with others, because this is not a standard for them. Another way to look at it is the fact that maybe there are those things that society does not allow or does not champion so much for. Especially, I would just speak maybe for ladies. Maybe sometimes you find maybe people not being given the same opportunities. But right now, yes, women are really empowered, and we are seeing that women are so strong. They're going into businesses. They're trying to be independent, and all this empowerment stuff. But I feel like it took a while for people to be even confident to try and get into those, maybe let's say, male-dominated careers, or get into these careers or do things that are not a typical way of the society. You see, yeah, it took a while for people to take that route. Or even we can talk about maybe the career in terms of people being entrepreneurs, or people being going to a particular career path. For a long time, I would just speak for the society back home. Like, for a long time, you would find people put more effort in the white collar jobs rather than these other technical jobs or creativity related jobs. But over the time, you find that these creativity related jobs, or skill based or talent based jobs, are actually giving people more opportunities and more ways to earn a living as compared to these white collar jobs. And they're giving people also more opportunities to travel the world, to interact with new cultures, to bring massive change, and also just to invest in themselves and in their communities as a whole. So you can imagine, for these people who have been able to break the barriers of fears when it comes to, let's say, this following a specific career path that is not the norm in society, or it's not given that high regard in society, or too much respect in society, and breaking these barriers, it shows just how much society really can influence. Because you find that those people who have those talents, but they had to just follow a particular career path simply because society told you, you go to high school, to primary, high school, finish your campus, and then get a job. You see,
Yeah.
but probably you wanted to finish campus and then start your own business, and I just feel like those situations really show how society influences it. And just a last one is a situation that just came to my mind. The concept, or how society sees people, or rather entrepreneurs, when they start something and fail. How society sees failure is very one thing, and I think it also just emphasizes or puts more influence on the fear that society can cause to cripple someone from following their passion, or someone from achieving more. Because if I'm going to get into this as an entrepreneur, and then I fail in the first entrepreneurship journey, or even the first business I come up with, everyone would be like, we told you, you thought, there's so many things. But when you compare with other societies, they really embrace this, like, oh, you're an entrepreneur, oh, you failed, you've just failed once. You need to fail like 20, 100 times. People have failed for so long. The society already is pushing you towards just following, but in some cases, the society is actually making you to be more fearful and just be in your cocoon and not maybe get the wings to fly.
And I agree with you totally. And also, just to add on to that, is that since we know these societal norms, I think we can do better as people.
Yes.
Because we know, maybe from the society that I am in, they don't appreciate, maybe let me just use the same example, entrepreneurship, or now creativity or innovation. They don't appreciate that. So if I'm in a position to maybe move from this environment and go to a different environment, that is a way that I can be able to just avoid this societal norm that is strongly inculcated in people. So I can just move to an environment, maybe a different environment that has a different mindset. The other thing is just going in despite the society, because once you have succeeded, maybe what if you started that entrepreneurship and you actually succeeded, then definitely they would applaud you for that, and they would be so proud because now you have made their society. You are now the champion of the society, and they will, your name will be everywhere because you have done this.
Yes.
So just sometimes, as long as it strongly aligns with you, no one will always be there to champion you because it's still in seed form. But when it gets to the fruit form, everyone will be there to celebrate with you. So just going in, regardless of whatever societal norms are there, as long as you are not infringing on anyone's rights. So the other aspect is on, because these are societies that we are from, and we know what has been there from since when we were kids, and now you are an adult. It's a matter of unlearning these beliefs that you have been told over and over again, because it is within your power to unlearn whatever that does not serve you. So if you decide to continue with that same mentality that has been there, and you are educated, you are empowered, and you are not, whatever beliefs are there are not serving you, are not even pushing the society ahead. So what is the essence of continuing to have these same beliefs and not try something new that might actually propel the society that we are coming from to be different and better societies? So if you strongly believe that whatever that you have is because of the fear that you have is because of the societal norms, it's you to now go back and do the self-check-ins. Am I going to infringe on anybody's rights, number one? Am I going to propel the society? Or what state do I want to let my society be in? Because we are the change makers. The societies we are the societies. It is just people. So if we let maybe our forefathers reasoning continue pushing the agendas of the society, then we will not even grow as a society. So I think let's unlearn these beliefs and try to go against them, as long as they are not infringing on anybody's rights. And if they are actually infringing on anybody's rights, are those the right ways to do things? Because sometimes you can go against even the things that are infringing other people's rights, because they don't know, they can't see the other side based on the environment that they are in.
Oh, wow. I think that is really well put, and it brings us to, we need to manage this fear, or we need to have coping strategies when we are this fearful. Maybe fear as a result of the society norms, or fear that gives us maybe anxiety or the likes. How would you say we should cope with this fear?
For me, how I have been doing it, maybe let me just start with me. It's just doing it either way, doing it, because I don't know what is on the other side. And most of the ideas that have been coming in my mind, they are mostly aligned with who I am. And now, and it has been easier over time to just get an idea and see this is an idea that I can go through despite the fear. But sometimes you get that, yes, you get an idea, but you really can't go through those, continue with that idea process. So over time, like once you have been in a position to continue exercising my thoughts and ideas, over time the fear has reduced, because now I know when it is from this angle, then it is a good idea, so I can continue despite the fear. But if it is from this angle, it might be a bit different. So number one, just doing it. And now just doing it does not mean that you just go in because now I have to do it. It has to come with it comes with a lot of research on whatever that you want to delve into, because now you also don't want to get into something and then you fail at it, because now you are just experimenting something. So a lot of research before now, just doing it, and then now diving in. And then in the diving in, it's like, I don't know where this will go, but let's hope for the best. But if the best does not come out, then I learned my lessons.
Wow.
You just dust yourself up, talk to Gertrude, talk to a friend, and life still continues. Because life still continues and life still moves on. Yeah. And even if you will feel, yes, definitely you will feel bad about it because it was not the outcome that you wanted for yourself, but life will eventually move on.
Wow, I really like how you've put it. For me, I also just use more or less the strategies that you've mentioned. Actually, one is that I've started using recently is just trying to get more knowledge or find myself in that environment that would really boost my confidence or will give me reassurance that I'm actually on the right path. If it's probably a study journey, I would just be in that environment of also people that are really they're doing that thing, and I would try and gain more knowledge about how to do this thing better, or like just try to gain more knowledge on that concept that I'm trying to work on, because I realize when you have more knowledge about a particular topic or a particular concept, you're going to be confident in doing something. Yes. But if you also don't have sufficient knowledge or sufficient experience within a particular thing or concept, you'll definitely be fearful to even express yourself out, because you'll be like, okay, I'm expressing this, and then you're like, what if someone asks? You're not so confident. So that's something that has helped me recently. It's something I started also practicing recently, has helped me in actually coping with fear, especially when it comes to when I want to start something new. I am always in motion for a long time before you go to the action. So yeah, I normally research and just try to find more product knowledge about a particular concept or a particular situation before now diving into it. So even if I'm very fearful, I will still do it. And just the fact that you've said also, just be open-minded. If you win, it is a plus. If you don't win, it is a lesson. And life really just still moves forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think even this fear, we have strongly talked about the positive side of fear. It is important for us to also just have this conversation of actually seeking the professional support that we need during these phases of us having this fear. Because I might be in a community, but maybe the community that I am in is not super helpful because, well, maybe they have, let me just use your word, maybe they have capacity in a different area of life and not this specific area. So when we are undergoing through these fear phases, because you won't be facing fear every day.
Yes.
But when you're in this now phase of having the fearful moments, maybe we can talk about the need for professional support aside from now our communities.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I would say maybe especially when it comes to fear that is being drawn from maybe traumatic experiences or past experiences that are kind of depressive to you, or or also the fear that comes with anxiety and too much lack of clarity and just not being sure. I feel like it is also very good to look for professional help, because sometimes you might really think you're managing yourself well, but as Eda has said, you can talk to a friend, but your friend might not be in a position to understand you in a professional way when you compare to a professional, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it is also good to just get an expert, a professional who will be able to take you through this journey of maybe recovery, or if it's a diagnosis they need to do or new, and just help you in your journey to getting back to being okay with situations, or reducing these fear triggers, then it might really be okay. But other than that, you can also speak just to a community or a friend.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I agree as well. And just to add on that, also maybe finding a mentor or somebody who has done whatever that you intend to do also helps so much, because you see, these are people who have already walked on that shoe.
True.
So they know exactly. They know the stages of that path that you are walking. They know the initial phase, how it feels, and they know all the emotions that come with the initial phase and all the challenges that come with the initial phase. And also after the initial phase, they know the stage 2 of how things are going to be. So finding also somebody who is either ahead of you based on whatever that you intend to do or whatever that you are doing is also important. And I've come to realize the power of LinkedIn. I knew LinkedIn as a place where maybe I can get a job or meet people, but I didn't know it from that perspective whereby I can reach out to somebody who has walked the path that I want to walk in, reach out to them and ask them for guidance. Somebody told me about it. Somebody, I think one of
our guests
talked about it, and it was very eye-opening. And I practiced it, and you realize that these people are actually willing to give the information and to guide you through that path. And because you see, people love talking about themselves, so they are okay to even tell you their journey. And even if they are talking about themselves, they are not boasting, but they are actually giving you important feedback that you will need in your journey throughout that path that you want to go. So yeah, you can find mentors on LinkedIn, even if you don't want to be super close with somebody. LinkedIn helps because these are people that you just meet to network, and because LinkedIn is a platform that is mostly professional, so people mostly are there for professional matters and they conduct themselves in a professional way. Yeah,
that was really good, and I liked how you put it. And we've come to the end of our episode, and make sure you comment and subscribe, and also share your feedback on the comment section.
Thank you so much for having you here, and see you again next time. And until next time,
bye.